Hey everyone, it's me again. So, upon further inspection, I guess you could say, no, after a bit of meditation, not New Age meditation, but like just thinking on it, I decided to do a whole review on GP Transco because you know what? They tried to silence me and everyone else who has a negative experience or review, and I'm sorry, but they're not going to do that. So I left out a lot of stuff in what I said in my previous video, so it needs to be said. Here I have a list of eight things that make a work environment toxic, and I'm going to list them, go through them, and give you examples, okay? First of all, I want to let you know that they do have inward-facing cameras. I don't know what they start out now, but when I started, they started out at 55%. And if you agreed to have an inward-facing camera, they bumped you up to 57% per mile. 57 cents per mile. But they have, I will let you know this, they situate the cameras on the mirror, on the windshield, to where if you just have a forward-facing camera, they can see your reflection in the driver's seat from that camera. So if you're using your phone or if you're doing stuff that you're not supposed to, they will see you. They have fired people for that. So just bear that in mind. It doesn't matter if you have an inward-facing camera or not. If you just have an outward-facing camera, they can still see you. Poor communication is number one, okay? Now, my driver manager was amazing with communication. I never had issues with that. Even the night shift is really good. I never had issues with dispatch or my driver manager. The first two I did, but they're not there anymore that I know of. I think one of them is. The first one I had, she like talked 90 to nothing, and I could not, and like on me all the time, like micromanaged to death. I was suffocating. I couldn't stand it. Got rid of her. The second one, my second experience with my driver manager dude, she led with her emotions, okay, which I don't think she's there anymore. So I'm not gonna go too much into that, but like she crossed the line quite a few times and it was insane. But human resources was amazing. They handled it, they took care of it. I did not have a problem changing driver managers. And like when I first started there, you had like each driver manager had 20 drivers per manager, and I was able to talk to my driver manager like daily. It was incredible. I loved it. Well, then they got rid of like half of their staff. Okay, like they got rid of half of the driver managers, and I don't know who else in the office, but I just heard it was bad. Like they did a huge cut because after that I didn't get to talk to my manager. Maybe once a week I heard from him, and it really sucked. Now the poor communication comes from above, okay? Like they will change policies on you like that without explanation, without letting you know, and you're supposed to know about it. Like they don't even tell their driver managers, and it's like a new policy is in place, and well, good luck. The management, the like I said, the executive team is terrible at communication. I don't like know how they lasted 20 years. I honestly don't. Number two is micromanagement. They will swear up and down that they don't micromanage you, okay? But let me explain to you how they micromanage you, all right? They have the cameras, and then they have the systems, like the system that is in place that gauges your bonus. It watches your every move in the truck. Like when you, of course, I mean, a lot of these companies do, like when you hard brake, when you have, situations, those are all common. But like they even want you to do this thing called anticipation, okay? You have to, in order to in order to get your bonus, okay, you have to learn how to switch pedals without going from one to the other. Like, you have to wait at least a second in between. So if you take your foot off the brake and you want to hit the pedal, you have to wait at least a second before doing that, and that's called anticipation. Same thing, if you take your foot off the throttle and you want to hit the brake, you need to wait a second in between before hitting the brake, and this is supposed to help with fuel consumption, okay? Same thing with your cruise control. You cannot use your pedal to cancel your cruise control. You have to cancel it on the steering wheel. I had my seatbelt off, like, for a moment to go from, so I was at a pilot, and literally all I was doing was, the way that the pilot was set up, it was a one-way traffic, so I had to leave the pilot and then come back in through the entrance, and literally it was like, just that, coming out and going right back in. It was on a side road, it wasn't on a main drag or nothing, okay? I didn't put my seatbelt on for that. I got dinged for it. They have these cameras that use AI that supposedly can tell where your eyeballs are looking, not just your head, but where your eyeballs are looking, and they watch your every move, and it gauges your every move, and it lets you know if there's even the slightest bit of distracted driving. Look, I was looking down to adjust. I looked down for a second to adjust my air. I got called on that. Like, literally every little thing, they watch your every move, okay? Every little thing. Everything, like, they don't micromanage you as in the way of, like, giving you a call and asking you what's going on and questioning you, but they have all these technologies in place that mark and watch your every single move, and they use AI to do it. Lack of support is number 3. Oh my God, like, you are literally just a number there. They don't care about your opinion. They don't care about what affects you. All they care about is the bottom line and what benefits them. Literally, that's all they care about. They care about their image. That is the number one thing that they care about. They will stomp on anyone and erase anyone and erase anything and lie about whatever they need to make themselves look good. Like, it blows my mind that there's like so many articles out there about how good GP is. And I really think that they're paying people. This is strictly my opinion. I don't have any proof for this. This is just my opinion. Calm down, GP, before you get your lawyers on me. It is strictly my opinion, okay? Because it makes no sense. It makes no sense, okay? You will not get support from them unless you kiss butt. It's your typical corporation is what it is. Like, the people that get ahead, they get the best miles, they get the best, are the ass kissers, okay? People that just praise them left and right and agree with everything. That's what they want. They want robots. Because they don't want anybody that's going to tell them that they're wrong or try to help them or correct anything or, actual constructive criticism. They don't want any of that. And again, I'm talking about the executive team, the people that actually run the company. Because like I said, the office staff, but the problem is all the people in the office support them. They will not go against them. None of them have a backbone to go against them. The only ones that do are the drivers. And we don't last there. They will what they call bleed you out. Okay, they won't fire you, but they will bleed you out. They even tell you this in orientation now, is what I've heard. They tell you that if they don't like you and they don't want you there, they're gonna just bleed you out. And what that means is they're gonna cut your miles until you quit. That's what they're gonna do, bleed you out. They're not gonna actually fire you. Bruh. Do they understand that when you don't make money, they don't make money? Why would you do that to yourself? Like, if you're such a good company and so many people are banging down your door to get to you, why would you bleed your drivers out? Like, every day that your truck is not making money, you're losing. This is what pride does. This is what pride does. It makes you stupid. And you do stupid things. And you ultimately end up hurting yourself more than you're hurting the driver. Make it make sense, GP. Like, what? Unhealthy competition. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Okay, so once upon a time, there was a really great brotherhood that existed at GP Transco. So much so that, like, I was so proud to be a part of it. Okay, now, because of the strict rules of the bonus, and like they push this 8-9 mile per gallon requirement, and not only that, they made a local driver the ambassador of fuel consumption. Okay, he's the example. All right. This guy told us, okay, first of all, he goes home every weekend. Okay. And this guy told us that in order for him to conserve the fuel on his truck, he stays inside of the truck stops for like 4 hours when he shuts down during the week, every shift. Like, who's gonna do that? We live in these trucks. I'm not gonna be forced out of my truck to save you fuel because you are mismanaging your money. Oh, and that's something else too. They said they haven't been making a profit for the past 2 years, and it's all the driver's fault. Not the fact that they're mismanaging their money or taking too much off the top. No, none of that. Not because they have this overabundance of technology in their trucks that is absolutely unnecessary. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of useless technology. No, it's not that. It's the driver's fault. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. When I was there, I was idling 48% because all of these systems in their truck were clashing with each other and like confusing the system and causing it to idle more than it needed to. And then I come here, I'm at Crete now. I've been here since September. My highest percentage is 21%. I can even show you my record. I will show you my record. I will do that for you. We're gonna go to the driver reports up here at the top left corner. Driver scorecard, top left corner. As of the 17th, which was last Friday, here are my results. I have, we have a year-end goal of 113,000 miles, and it shows 19.82% of the year complete. Miles per day needed, 80% in service is 432, and I believe that calculates to like 530 or 526 for 100%. Year-to-date goal is 68,058 or 55, and qualifying miles is 63,640. Safety points is -7. That is for any time that we bring our trailers in for a T1 service. They want us to do it every quarter to keep our trailers up to date. Like, they have great equipment here. Like, it is just, even our oldest trailers are in great condition, and it's because of that. And I've gotten 7 so far. And then it shows you have your information of when your service is due, how many miles you have left, all of that. It's so helpful. Monthly miles average, these are showing, I did have some weak points because I was sick and I was at home those months. And then here it shows your in-service percentage. Again, like February, I was sick and I was home a lot. So I was sick a lot and I was home. That's why it's so low. And plus it was only 28 days. But this is very helpful, so you know what you need to improve on. On-time delivery, look at that, 100%. 100%. Never could get a load on time at GP Transco. Fuel compliance. All of this is 100%, with the exception of February. I had gone a different route and wasn't able to find fuel. So I had to do an emergency fuel stop, and that's why that's at 92%. And then here is my idling. I'm sorry. My highest was 23.1%, and that was in December. Wow. Yep. And this is my percentage of idling. But GP Transco said that it was my fault that I was idling so much. Yep, go figure. But yeah, there's my record. I just showed you. So they're trying to redefine trucking. They think they know so much, but they don't. They have no clue. All you gotta do is go to LinkedIn and look at all the executive team and see where their experience is. That's all you have to do. Like, they say that they know trucking. They really don't. Let's see, number 5, bullying and harassment. Okay, so that didn't really go on too much, you know, but I will tell you that they have no problem with drivers bullying each other on the page or treating each other like crap in person. I've heard of fist fights going on at the company, and, you know, I can't say for sure or not if anything was done about it, but I know they still worked there after that. So, like, I don't know. That says to me they didn't do anything about it. Nothing was said or done, you know, like, or heard of. They didn't tell us what they did, you know. So I don't really know, but I just know that it's a very toxic environment because, you know, of all of the expectations that they have, like, the drivers do not get along anymore. Like, the tension between us is just, it's palpable. It is so freaking bad. Okay, and I'm telling you, the drivers there are phenomenal. Okay, I came across some of the best drivers I've met before here. You know, Crete has some really great drivers here. But like before I came here, you know, some of the best drivers in the industry were there. Like, I loved the drivers there. Like I said, the brotherhood was very, very thick there. And now it's destroyed. It's destroyed. Not very many people get along anymore over there. And it's because of management. It's sad. 6, high turnover. Well, that's obvious. They said that they had the least amount in the industry. That's funny because you have, like, I had 15 people, 15 drivers in my hiring class. 15. But you don't have a high turnover rate, and you have trucks that sit there for days on end that aren't moving, they don't have bodies in them. Like, you have a hiring class twice a week, but you have a low turnover rate. Make it make sense. I'm gonna tell you who has a low turnover rate. There's this company in New Iberia, where I used to live in Louisiana, that I tried to get on. It's a waste management. They said they haven't hired anybody for 2 years. So basically, a driver has to die in order for you to be able to get on there. And that may sound morbid, but that's the truth. And that's when you have a low turnover rate. That's what you call impressive. When you have a hiring class twice a week, every week, that's not a low turnover rate. Sorry, you're deceiving yourself. Number 7, high levels of stress. Okay, let me explain the levels of stress, okay? Let me tell you how they calculate your time. All right, so basically 80 to 90% of your loads are brokered, okay, which I've come to really love. I loved that because I went places that I've never been before and dealt with customers that I've never dealt with before, and it was a blast. But here's the problem. They take the mileage that you have and they divide it by 50 or 55, I'm not sure which one, and that's the time that they give you. That's it. They say that that calculation should account for you having to take showers, you having to take breaks, traffic, slowdowns, anything else, whether it accounts for all of that. I'm going to tell you, I have never, ever, like maybe once in my career in the past 10 years, been late that it was my fault on a job. Before that, like other than that, I've never been late. And I've always calculated my own times. And I never could make loads on time with this company. My on-time rate was so freaking low. It was embarrassing. And I was so astronomically stressed out so much for the first few months. And my husband was like, Heather, look, just do what you can. That's all you can do. It's not your fault that they're not giving you time. Screw it. And that's what I had to do, because like otherwise I would have lost myself. I got into a really bad habit of not showering because I had to choose between eating, sleeping, and showering. Well, showering was the least important of those three. So, and you're forced to do a 34 reset every single week. They wonder why they're not making money, which I heard that, I don't know if they still do that. Okay. I don't know if they still do that. But when I was working there, and like I said, I left back in September, somewhere around there. I started here at September, so I think it was August when I left. They were still forcing you to do a 34 reset. Okay, it did not matter if you had 20 hours on your clock every week. You still were forced to do a 34 reset, and they did not pay you layover for it. They did not. They do give you per diem. They give you like a lot of per diem. We were making, I want to say $68, $69 a day, which is like the most that I've ever gotten. That makes up for the lack of pay. But like, you calculate that there's 500 drivers and 20 hours a week per driver. You're losing that much, that many miles, like that many hours of drive time. And you're wondering why you don't make a profit. But it's the driver's fault. It's the driver's fault. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. I mean, with all of that, my driver manager was phenomenal. Like, he was so good that they took him and made him train all the other driver managers, which sucked for me because I had hardly any access to him. But he still ran it like a champ. Like I said, the lower hanging fruit of the company, like all of us drivers and the office staff and the mechanics and all that, they were awesome. They were awesome. It's the people up at the top controlling everything that's ruining this company. Like, literally. It's terrible. And let's see what we got. Constant gossip. I didn't really experience that too much there. I mean, you got your, like, you got your gossipers, your drivers and stuff, but I mean, we really didn't have that much there. Now, I don't know about now because the environment has gotten so insanely toxic. But I will tell you that, they control everything that you put in your truck. You can't have too many game systems or electronics or anything like that that pulls too much power from the battery that causes your truck to idle. You can't have extra coolers or freezers or anything like that. It's really gotten bad. And they say they don't micromanage, but like, they literally do, What else? Like I said before, okay, if you want to get true reviews about this company, go to Trucker Report. Trucker Report does not delete bad reviews on these companies. Google, forget about it. Forget about it. Literally, GP Transco controls all of Google reviews. Okay. Indeed, I don't know what it was. I never was able to post my review on Indeed. It kept kicking it back, and I do not know why. I mean, I literally just gave the facts. It would never accept it. So I can't vouch for Indeed. But I will say that there are more accurate reviews on there. As far as for, I think, CDL Report, I think, has reviews. Anyway, don't believe the hype, okay? It is a terrible company, and it keeps getting worse the more desperate they go. They're running in fear right now. They're running in pride right now, and pride always comes before the fall. And I don't recommend going to GP Transco at all. I mean, they've got beautiful trucks, but that's where it ends. They're very cheap on their equipment. They do the bare minimum that they have to now, especially because they can't really afford it. They say that they're debt free, but I know that these last sets of trucks they finance. So it's like, why would you do that if you were debt free? Like, you know, make it make sense. I don't know. I just don't understand how they do things. I really don't. And it doesn't make sense to me. And because of that, you know, I can't get behind it. I refuse to be the face of them. And you know, usually I stay at a company until I have no choice. And it has burned me bad. Like I told you, you know, CR England, Knight, Total, Ozark. I stayed as long as I could, and I ended up getting screwed bad. And this time, I refused to do that. The moment that the red flags started popping up left and right, I got out. I said, you know what? I have a bad feeling that this company's going under. I'm not going with it. So I got out when I could. When God gave me that message in my mind, it was like, ding, 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 time to go. I didn't ignore it this time. And I got out, and I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did. Because from what I understand, it's gotten worse. And like my sanity was like going out the door. Like I was losing myself at this company, like big time. Like the stress level was just astronomical. And to this day, it's 6 months later, I still struggle with getting showers out here. Because I've gotten in such the habit of go, you know, and I'm so worried and stressed. Like I still have that mindset. I'm trying to chillax and realize that, you know, Crete's not like that. And yeah, so I am getting better though. So yeah. But I mean, if you're willing to take the plunge and you feel like it's worth the risk, hey, go for it. Don't say I didn't warn you. And again, I'm gonna say it one more time. This is strictly my opinion. Strictly my opinion, GP. It's just my opinion. Just my opinion, my experience, and what I've had. There's still people there. Like I want to challenge all of you. Ask all the GP drivers. I will bet you money that it will be hard for you to find people that have been there for more than 1 year. And to find people that have been there for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, good luck. Good luck. There may be 2 left, 3. Everybody else is gone. I was there for 2 years, almost 2 years. Was I there? Yeah, 2 years. I worked at Ozark for a year. I had just made my year. And I was just about to get on a, the FedEx director or whatever of the FedEx lane had offered me a FedEx lane. Now, in order to get a FedEx lane, you have to be one of the top drivers, okay? He offered it to me. And I was, at the beginning of the year, I was going to be getting on the FedEx dedicated. And that's when they screwed me over. So, like, yeah. Anyway, and GP, well, I just left. I left before it got too bad. And I will never go back. Never go back. Not while these people are in charge. Like I said, they're from Lithuania, and I guess they think we're all stupid here in America. But that's just how it feels. They are so much smarter than we are. They know so much more. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my story. That's my experience. Yeah. Not good. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. And tomorrow I will do Crete, God willing. And I appreciate y'all coming on this ride with me. Later.